Hi everyone, welcome back to Babylon. So again, it's another day, it's another rumour. West Ham have been linked to Scott McTominay of Manchester United, a name that we saw. I'm pretty sure we saw it back in January, but it's obviously resurfaced again. Could it be a lazy link because of our previous interest? Is it really happening? Is it even a good deal? We'll kind of have a look at that and dissect it and give our thoughts on the links to Scott McTominay. So as we say, the links have come out once again that West Ham are looking at Scott McTominay. So as the article on West Ham's own, West Ham are apparently the front runners or front of the queue at least to sign Scott McTominay as an exit. Looks like it's likely. And this is obviously according to The Sun. Now, obviously, United are interested in Declan Rice. Whether we see that materialise or not is another thing. That may be an interesting one with their takeover. And depending on which direction they go in terms of the takeover, it could also mean Declan Rice is either in or out in terms of as a player they're looking to invest in. But away from that, looking at McTominay, the argument is, does it represent good value for West Ham? Does it represent a player that is going to improve West Ham moving forward? And obviously looking to replace Declan Rice, does he have the necessary criteria in which to really be someone that we can look to and rely on to replace Declan Rice in our squad? I have my own personal feelings, those being that I don't think it is the right deal to do. One being is that he is also older than Declan Rice. He's currently 26, but obviously come middle of the season, I think his birthday's in December, so that would mean that he obviously being 27. Declan Rice obviously currently is only 24 years of age. So again, it's only a few years difference, but they make a huge bit of difference in terms of what it means for us in the longer term, in terms of what we could make from obviously getting a player around Declan's age means that even in 3 years, we still have a player that's entering into their prime that we could then sell on. Unfortunately, we're buying a player who is arguably coming into their prime, arguably. That then isn't going to represent a great deal of money that we can spend or that we can earn off them at a later point. In addition to that, again, the fee seems reasonable at about £25 million. But again, is the wage going to be reasonable for us? And does McTominay map far too closely to Souček than Rice for it to be even worthwhile as an opportunity? We mentioned with Paulinho, it's all very well looking at a player that is good defensively, but if they don't offer that very much in possession, they don't offer very much in an attacking sense, especially if you're not improving on Souček, does it make sense, or is it a sensible or viable option? Personally, I don't think it is a very good deal for us unless this is one where we're looking to maybe offset or move away from Souček. Even still, I would prefer that West Ham went for a younger type of player. So if we was to kind of look at it statistically kind of thing, to give maybe a bit more of a fairer view, because my own view is that I don't think McTominay is the right player for West Ham. And sometimes if you look at the statistics, it can maybe kind of cut away maybe some of your preconceived notions on a player. Now, this is obviously utilising Scout data, comparing Declan Rice obviously in the blue to McTominay in the red. Now, as you can see, there are a few metrics where they map fairly closely. But one of the aspects where we do see that Rice is superior is in the fact that he has been bringing more goals to West Ham. He is tending to have far more influence, I guess, in attacking sense from shooting around the area, far more progressive in his passes, in his passing and his dribbling. Again, he is more creative as a player. McTominay, I don't believe, even has an assist this season, and that's playing in a arguably a much stronger team than us in Manchester United. And from a passing perspective as well, Rice is far superior. And defensively, again, the ability in which to break up play, to win those duels, again, Declan Rice is superior, although McTominay does do fairly well in an aerial sense, which shouldn't be a surprise when he's 6'4". he should be pretty good from that perspective. And also considering how much McTominay has been in the area, to then have no goals at all and to have your expected goals to be so far down also does demonstrate a player that's, whilst they're getting in the area, maybe getting touches, they're not getting into advantageous positions or positions where they can actually impact and influence the goal, and they've actually kind of have a chance to score. And I mentioned Souček because when you compare him to Souček, there is a much kind of closer mapping across those statistics, which then, again, it just helps to show that when we're talking about McTominay as a replacement for Rice, the correlation between the two doesn't really fit. Declan Rice is far more creative in possession and brings more in possession, is more secure in possession as well. And when you look at him in comparison to Souček, there are added benefits in McTominay in relation to Souček. When we're looking at some of the passing metrics, he's far more secure. From a defensive side, it's pretty negligible. They're pretty much very close together, which again would represent a very good replacement. The difference in the two is again around that ability in which to create. Obviously, Souček has been very good for us at set pieces and winning those headers to create for others, and he tends to get in and around the area as well, which is also very well reflected by the number of kind of touches in the box he's had. Souček has been a bit wasteful in terms of shots on goal and so on. He should actually, I believe his XG is around about 4 or 5 goals this season, but in fact only has about 2 or 3. So again, he's bringing, whilst we have issues with Souček in possession, he has provided at least some level of creativity, or at least created opportunities for others, and he's also scored as well. Now, if we was to remove Declan Rice, we're removing 4 goals. We're also removing a few assists as well, and also a player that is very good from that kind of in and around the area trying to create. That's something that he's improved on recently. With McTominay, we've not really seen that very much. Obviously, this year's probably been a tougher year, trying to get more familiar with the Erik ten Hag way of playing. But again, Rice brings such dynamic play, not only in terms of his passing, but also in the way that he will drive through midfield. This is not something we're really going to get from McTominay. And one of the things that has been criticised when you look at United fans making reference to him has been the fact that his passing can be erratic at times. He's not very creative. He doesn't score enough goals and he doesn't assist very much. He's not the type of player that United have, say, like with Darren Fletcher, not Stephen Fletcher, who was that kind of box-to-box runner who could be really, really good defensively, but also could be a danger in and around the area and create. He isn't that same player. He's a reliable, steady player, but obviously he's not top 4 level, hence why Man United are looking to move away from him now. And I also don't believe that if we want to replace Rice and we want to have a level of maintaining, he isn't the player to do that. Maybe as a stretch that he is a replacement for Souček, but as we discussed with Paulinho, it's not a great impact or not even a great increase in what we have in Souček. So does it represent really any kind of benefit to West Ham other than it's a homegrown player and us needing to bring in homegrown players next year? There is this constant talk about wanting Prem-proven players. Quite frankly, that's because we don't scout. You don't just have a pure and utter basis of looking at players just on the basis of that they're Premier League proven, unless you have a poor scouting system. The only reason you're going to do that is because you don't know players outside. You can't rely on your ability to trust whether you have made the right selection. You don't have the time in which to assess whether that player has the right mentality to do those kind of fundamental checks that you would do. And is essentially just looking for the easy route. It's a player that you've seen, has played in the Premier League and therefore could do a job. It's not really, though, looking as to what can they bring above and beyond what you have or what you need to replace. And whilst Declan Rice is almost irreplaceable, there are elements in which we should be looking at. And if you're familiar with the Moneyball kind of way of working, again, it's just looking at those statistical pieces to remove all of that bias, to look as to we need X number of runs, passes, assists, and goals. And then looking at players that map very closely to that to allow you to then bridge those gaps. This is why we also talk about replacement of Rice has to be two players. One of them is to improve and to cover what Souček does, but also then to map as close as we can to Declan Rice, to which to ensure that those two players elevate that midfield and bring more out of it. So when I look at the McTominay links, I am slightly downcast on it. I don't think it is that great a deal for West Ham. I don't think it speaks to any really long-term planning. It says that it is purely a mid-term opportunity or mid-term kind of deal, which is to kind of bring in their eyes, a short-term success. But when you're losing a player that is as dynamic as Rice, and you're moving to a player that is for all intents and purposes, a good standard of player, but not a huge increase on Souček, and that is someone who has frustrated West Ham fans immensely throughout the season, it does start to make you concerned and worried about what the club are doing from a transfer perspective. What I would say is, until the season is over, I wouldn't pay much notice to any kind of deals or any kind of conversations around players. And also, if we're looking at a director of football, I don't foresee a director of football willing to come in whilst the transfer window is being decided or deals are being done before they arrive. I would imagine any director of football would like to have a say, an impact, and also be making decisions on those deals rather than allowing the club to run ahead and spend money prior to them to have their appointment. So yeah, guys, you let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you think Scott McTominay would be a bad choice for West Ham? Do you actually want Scott McTominay? Do you think that he would be an improvement to West Ham and will actually bring something that we don't currently have? Let us know in the comments. And guys, if you do like this video, please do like, and as ever, please do subscribe. It really helps us. Share the content, all of those wonderful things. It really does help us. Also, follow us on our Twitter handle. We're also doing a very extensive list on potential players West Ham can look at this summer. We've just finished as to the players that could be looked at to replace Rice. So yeah, please do have a look at that as well. You know, if you like what the content we do, again, as I say, please do like our content on Twitter, on YouTube, and yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. As I say, let us know your comments. Let us know your feelings on it. Do you feel positive heading into the transfer window? If this is the route we're going, looking at established Premier League players, do you think this is the right method? Do you think this is the right thing for us to do? So yeah, that's it, guys. That's our last bit on this and McTominay. Thanks very much for listening, and as ever, come on, you Lions.